I brought a couple 80s gems, you know, for just in kind of because of Dreamwave Dave.
What album was that off of by Rodney, by the way? On what 45?
This is the 45 sleeve.
Oh wow, I've seen
from
that
the album Rappin' Rodney.
Wow.
hold it right there.
And the cool thing about Rodney was I had a lot of his records, but I didn't have Rappin' Rodney, and you would think I would have had that one, you know? I definitely had all the No Respect albums. Those were amazing.
Rappin' Rodney with Funicoli Funicola.
Okay.
That's the B-side.
Yeah, yeah. I think Rodney makes a great rapper. I think he made a great actor. Come on, how many great movies was he in? Caddyshack, Back to School. That was a classic movie.
Oh yeah,
I love that movie.
Okay. Well, Tucker Dale Booth's back in the Kill Radio studio. We're here on Radio Sendidi, and Tucker Booth's been hanging out with us here throughout this summer. He's been holding it down with me here on Saturday nights. And we've done we've taken a good insight into some of your work, but what we haven't really ever listened to is your very first project, your first hip-hop CD, right? We'll Rap for Food.
We know it's funny because, We'll Rap for Food was technically the second Frozen Food Section album that came out after Jonathan Todd from Hoth's Brainwashing the Art of Hip-Hop run. And it came out as like a glorified mixtape. We had spent time producing it at many studios because there's like bonus tracks on there from like the late 90s. But I mean, we were producing it all the way up until we put it out in 03, mostly in Overland, Missouri, in St. Louis at Outflow Studios with my buddy Scott Eagle as Perception. He was helping produce it. But we put that out as like a street mixtape, burned on DVRs in a spool. You know, this was never meant to be anything but like what it was a bomb mixtape. We'll Rap for Food was, the statement, and every CD got signed to the individual, and I was trying to create a memory. That was the point. You were buying a moment with me in time, but I think there's a lot on there that when I listen to now, I'm just kind of surprised how different it sounds than all the new stuff,
Yeah, that's what blew me away, because I've listened to all the newer stuff, everything from Beards down. You know what I mean? We've checked out Tucker Booth for President, Valet, Beards. I've been listening to these things, and when I finally listened, I hadn't heard We'll Rap for Food because you hadn't got me a copy of it yet. When you finally did get me a copy of it to give to Russ, Russ and I listened to it on the drive out to his house to Palmdale, and it was dope, dude. It blew me away. It was different than the newer stuff, and I liked it. You know what I mean? I like the new stuff, but this was like a different. This was a different Tucker, so to speak.
It was a different vision, and it was like, we called it folk rap because it was kind of this big melting pot of styles at that time. I'd been in rock bands, and that was on there, and I'd worked with these guys growing up that were, trying to write like really technical pop stuff. And then I had been improvising at those sessions and singing and freestyle singing and rapping. And I knew that I had that desire to get into hip-hop, and that's when I met Jonathan. I mean, we'd already known each other through our school, through Principia, but when we actually met up and freestyled for the first time and made the connection and knew that, this was going to happen, we were going to be rap partners and do this, that was a kind of a defining moment, and he helped me define that style of, I play an acoustic guitar. You met me at a farmer's market, I play classical acoustic guitar and do folk and rock and blues songs, by a famous artist and that I've written, but I also do hip-hop shows, and I do rap battles, and I look like a goofball, and everybody can't figure out why the hell I'm not like, more trying to be hard or trying to like, push harder than I am, because you see me, I give this stuff away,
Yeah.
I give my music away. So it's a whole different like philosophy that John kind of instilled in us, of like, give your music away. And I think We'll Rap for Food was a good example of that. I mean, people were buying a DVR or a CDR for, $10 just because they were enjoying that moment with me. And it drove my haters crazy. It drove the critics nuts. It drove them bananas that people would buy that because they thought it was so cheap. But, that's the way we had to do it back then,
Word. Well, I'm going to let it ride off the beginning. I'm going to play the first one, and then that second one, What Goes Around, that track really blew my mind, man. I like that one.
Well,
a
and
lot.
I got to give a shout, even though this dude.
I played it on the show last week. I'm sorry, I played it on the show last week, but I'm gonna rock it again.
Yeah, the dude who produced that also produced track 10 on Will Rap for Food called Ron Terrorists, that features
DJ
a number
Crucial's
of
on the
artists,
cuts.
and J Toss on Ron Terrorists too. But his name's Ethan. That's his production name, and it's spelled like Ethan, E-T-H-A-N, Ethan. And I'm pretty sure he's still out there. If you go on, various music sites and just type in Ethan, he should come up. He used to be in a group called Groove is Malt. They were like a touring funk band out of Maryland or Rhode Island, I think. That they opened for Sage Francis, they opened for Black Delicious, they opened for Chili Peppers, they opened for a bunch of people. So they used to be kind of like fairly big touring band. I think they actually still do tour, but Ethan's no longer part of them. So he produced those tracks when we both went to Principia College in 2000 or like 2001. It was right after 9/11, because we wrote both of those songs as kind of a direct response to like the whole attitude of the general public that we felt during 9/11. And What Goes Around was about that, and Ron Terrorist was obviously about that too.
Who's that female that's on vocals for Tony?
Her name's Katya Schiller, and she's from Africa. I'm pretty sure it was Nigeria. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry, Katya, but I thought it was Nigeria. But she was awesome, a great singer, obviously, kind of killer voice, dude. And I hope you're still out there singing still too, Katya.
All right, let's get into a couple off Will Rap for Food. You are listening to Radio Sandetti here on Kill Radio.
Church.